It's Brian Preston, the Money Guy.
All right, Siren Eye has a question. There's some detail in here, so guys, get ready. He says, from what I've read, the target date retirement fund may not get the best returns. I am 39. I have $169K in my 401k and 60% of it in a target date. What would be the best allocation for me? FYI, I'm maxing out my traditional contributions and backdoor mega Rothing the remaining after-tax yearly total inside of a Fidelity account to catch up from starting late.
So it's really, really interesting here, right? We can't give specific advice. We can't
Right.
give specific investment advice, can't give specific allocation advice. But Siren, you're doing some really interesting stuff, some really good stuff. I think, because I want to make sure I got this, $169,000 in the 401k. We don't know what Siren has elsewhere, right? We don't know how much they have in after tax. We don't know what they have in Roths or IRAs, or if they're married and spousal assets. So it's sort of difficult to have any sort of like discerning understanding of your overall financial situation. But the question is, right, do target dates get the best rate of return? Are target dates the thing that I should utilize? And is that what I should be focused on at this point in the journey? I think is the question that Siren is leaning into.
Well, I mean, I think there's a bigger question here is that because he's talking about target retirement funds. And we look, the reason I think he brings up target retirement is we talk about indexed target retirement funds are your easy solution where all you have to answer is how much can I save? When do I need it? And it lets you just clear the noise and really focus on the behavior of building wealth. So that's why we even mention that. But there is this thing where you'll notice with any diversified portfolio, because historically we know like financial markets, equity markets, they make money about 80% of the time.
Right, 8 out of 10 years.
So if you just do 100% of a total market index or the S&P 500, especially over the last 10 to 15 years, you're going to look at it and go, woo,
worked out well for
this
you.
thing is a rocket ship. You know, it's great. But this is something we always say is a balance of wealth building versus wealth keeping. And this is why you do asset allocation is because we're going through a period of volatility right now. And I think it's starting to push that favor or that balance of, hey, it's good to have your financial plan, your asset allocation match what your goals, your desires, and where you're trying to use your money for as a tool. And that's the thing that we always used to tell people, Bo, a good diversified portfolio is going to make sure when you need money, say somebody who's about to retire, because he's 39, so he's many years from retirement. So I imagine his portfolio can stay aggressive. And even though it's not going to get 100% of the upside of the market, it should capture a good portion of it for a 39-year-old. But as you get older, like I say a 70, 75, or an 80-year-old, there is no way that you should think that you're going to capture 80% of the upside when you have a fully diversified because you're living off those assets, because your goal is to make sure, yes, you're growing still, but also if you need money in 3 years, there better be money in that account to be there to meet your goals. And that's why I wouldn't, yes, they're not going to get 100% because, like I said, they're diversified. They're going to have international holdings. They're going to have just a small sliver for a 39-year-old of fixed income, not a ton. And that's going to put a little bit of a headwind, but it also is making sure that if the market does go down 40%, that you don't take all 40%. Maybe your portfolio is only losing 23% or 25%. So that's the whole power of diversification, and that's what the target retirement funds, the index target retirement funds we talk about, are supposed to make that decision or that process very easy.
And one of the reasons that we love target retirement index funds is because early on in your accumulation journey, we don't want you to lose sight of the things that actually impact and affect your financial well-being over the long term. There's some really easy mathematics to think about here, right? So you think about the $169,000 that you have in your 401k. Even if you made 10% on that account, you said that you're maxing out at $20,500 and you're taking advantage of the full after-tax availability with mega backdoors. That means you're putting like $61,000 into your 401k. Your savings rate is exponentially more powerful than your rate of return, meaning what you're doing, earning money and putting it into the portfolio, is having a larger impact on the portfolio than what you're investing in. So yeah, there could be a spread between buying just an all market index fund and buying the target date fund, But the difference that's going to make on the sum of money you've accumulated right now pales in comparison to what you're doing from a saving standpoint, from what you're doing from actually adding dollars in to your army of dollar bills. Now, as the dollars get bigger and you get to $500,000, $750,000, $1 million, so on, then the rates of return become a little bit more important. And if you have multiple accounts, maybe you have your 401k and maybe you're doing your mega backdoor and you're rolling that into a Roth IRA, and maybe you have other assets and after tax, well, then you can start benefiting from some of the things like asset location and looking at which types of accounts do I hold, which types of investments in. But early on in the journey, focus on the things that give you your biggest bang for the buck. And it sounds like you're already doing that. Let the portfolio grow, let the dollars grow, let them keep moving towards that critical mass, and then you can start making some of those higher level decisions.